Good afternoon, Town of LaPointe Special Planning and Zoning Town Plan Commission, 4:30 PM, January 21st, 2026. Call to order, roll call.
Charles Brummer.
Tim Peters.
Susan Baxter.
Paul Wilharm and Sue Ellen Socek is via Zoom. Public comment, less than 1 minute. No public comment. Approval of previous meeting minutes. Regular TPC meeting, January 7th, 2025.
Couple of minor things on page 3 under item 4, building setbacks variance, halfway down. It says our tool is looking for comments or edits to send out the letter as final. J. Peters, things, the letter is very good. I think that should be thinks.
Got it.
Right
Yep,
there.
got it.
And one other item on page 6, I believe, item C, E, excuse me. Under Wisconsin Act 73, end of the first sentence. I'll just, after January 1st, and the fact that we know that it impacts some renter on the island, we want to start talking about it here. I think we want to say it impacts some renters on the island, and we wanted to start talking about it here. Said it well. Otherwise, it looked fine to me.
We have a couple comments on page 5, short-term rental. Let's go back to page 4 first. Page 4, D, zoning internship, blah, blah, blah. About 2/3 of the way down, it says that I believe that 5 works out well. Then it says the issue of having one base not being a resident was implemented before, but he believes that it should all be year-round residents. I never said that. I would like that struck in from the minutes. And on page 5, short-term rental study, again, about 2/3 of the way down. It says Katie Abbott attended this meeting as a regular member, that she is a short-term rental administrator. And it says, while not part of the typical procedure, as her input is relevant, she was allowed to give an interview, an overview, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we should have this noted as not part of the typical procedure. The town chair can recognize anybody at any time during the meeting and have them comment. So I think it would be better that at least in the future, that we adhere to the Robert's Rules of Order, and if someone from the audience wants to make a comment during our regular meeting, that the chair can recognize that person and have comment. Otherwise, people in the audience should not be allowed to make any comment unless they're recognized by the board.
Well, I think it says that twice.
Yes.
Yeah, later on with Dave Elin as well,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Page 6.
Yep.
Make the motion to approve the minutes of January 7th, 2026 as amended.
second.
Discussion. Sue Ellen, do you have anything to add?
Oh, good catch on those.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'd like to make a motion that we flip-flop old business and new business.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business, non-conforming lot modifications, combining lots, but not up to minimum lot size. Measuring the width of the lot, shoreline versus perpendicular. Rich has done a lot of calculating, and we'll let him lead off on this.
Okay, thank you. So everyone should have in their packets kind of a diagram and some calculations that I did. Really, there's 2 issues here, and we'll start with the non-conforming, making it larger. but it's still not conforming. We need to get everyone's buy-in on that. So the proposal is to combine two existing non-conforming lots that are about an acre or maybe a little bit less than an acre in size. That gets us up to around 2 acres. And then beyond that would be to add a swath of land that's about 50 feet wide. Adding that in, and that's what we're going to talk about next, still wouldn't get us to 3 acres, which is the S1 requirement. But it would take, 2 non-conforming lots, and there would be 1 non-conforming, but closer to 3. That's the first issue that's on the table. And I'm happy to go into the second issue if that one. Discussion here.
Oh, why don't you go into the second issue?
Okay, so the second issue has to do with lot widths. So for S1 zone property, it requires 200 feet. And this all has to do with the acquisition of the 50-foot corridor. And on the handout, you'll see that I've drawn a red dash line where the property line is today. And then the area just to the right of that 50 feet would be added. And there's a great exhibit that shows it.
A little bigger.
Yep. Good. Thank you. So what it would be doing is narrowing the distance of shoreline neighboring lot to the east. And there's a couple ways of looking at that. So S1's requirements are, we'll start on the north side, 200 feet is the minimum. This is currently 272, almost 273. There's not an issue on the north side. No issue. On the south side, the requirement on the lake shore is 250 feet for S1. Now, it currently is that 272. But moving it 50 feet over, if you look at it just on a perpendicular, that reduces it to 223 feet. Okay, but the other dimension that I think is worthy of looking at is the distance along the shore. And the distance along the shore is 267 feet, greater than the 250. So the question becomes, are you still conforming with 267 feet along the shore, greater than 250? Or are we looking at the 223? And if we are looking at the 223, there's 2 options that I've looked at that come out of our zoning ordinance that are in the back. I actually gave everyone the section 16.2 talks about lot width for irregular shaped lots, which is what this would be. And I've come up with a couple of options that one is just short of the 250, but one that's above 250 at 258. Basically what you're doing is you're doing a weighted average of the entire lot, because it is a regular shape. So I think that's a good place to stop, Paul, and let's go back and talk about non-conforming to non-conforming bigger being okay. And then the second part is let's talk about those dimensions. If that works for you.
Sure. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, as long as we're where Danny and Julie have their lot, as long as that's not creating a non-conforming lot, because right now it conforms to the lot width. We all know that you have to measure perpendicular to the side yard, correct? It's not on an angle per se, per the ordinance. I'm not making it up, it's in the ordinance,
Right.
under the definition.
The
So
definition.
but does Julie and Danny also own that lot that goes all the way to Middle Road then? I mean, is
They own
these two separate?
They own both.
all the way up to here.
Yep.
It's 8 point some acres.
So,
Okay. What I did is I wanted to buy 50 feet from Danny and Julie. Okay, and just for my understanding, your understanding,
there's lots like this on the lake shore that don't comply. There's lots on the inland that don't comply. And when you talk about lot width, those are always on the inland side. Lake shore lots, they always talked about front footage. So that the front footage, as far as I know, the 30-some years I've been here, that they measure these by their front footage. They don't go across this way. But as long as you got your acreage and everything else. So this would be a lot Danny wanted to, long as we're doing it, because I'm gonna have to get a new
Survey,
a new lot survey.
certified.
So I want to do it at one time. He said, let's give me a lot back here that I can sell or keep, sell this and do whatever he wants. And I said, okay, well, I want to add a little bit more to these two. Then I'll combine this 0.67 acres with my house. So that makes this one lot bigger lot.
This
This
may
is
not
plenty
be
big.
relative, but does he have an easement across here?
He's got an easement across here, yes. He's got an easement right to there, but he'll get a new one. So that's what I want to do. I guess the issue is front footage is the way Lake Shore has always been looked at. And lots on the inland side, they don't have, they have a front footage, but they also have a lot width. You know, so
So that's 200 feet down the road anyway.
Yeah,
It's 250 on the lake.
It's the lakeside.
But the problem with measuring, I mean, if you had like a cove in here, I mean, if you took that, you could come up with 500 feet, I mean, or
well,
like,
you could, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think back to Cigar, when we'd mill out there and you'd have, you'd want a 10-inch board, and you wanted a 12-inch board, you just angled the ruler until you got to 12, and there you go. That's why I always thought in the past, we would always
We
measure.
can talk about my uncle.
But that's what he did. You remember that. So he would always angle that tape measure and say, "That's perfect, look right there." So I mean, that's why, and again, going back to the ordinance underneath definitions, it's always been perpendicular to the side lot line.
But it does reference front footage in there at several places in the old ordinance.
Well, yeah, it's the mean horizontal distance between the side lot lines of the lot measured at right angles to the depth. So if that's the depth, right angle. I'm just saying that's what the ordinance is. I'm not trying to get into an argument with anybody, but that's,
We're not here to argue.
no. But we want to make sure you can, utilize your property
Right.
without making a substandard lot over. That's fine.
We're not making a substandard lot for Danny or Julie. I just want to get 50 more feet because I know that the way things go and island people are getting run off the island. And somebody's gonna buy this lot and put a house right there.
Yeah.
Right next to my.
I mean, I like Rich's idea of combining, using your formula, which is in the ordinance, to get to that average that you were talking about. I think that's the way to do it. Whether or not that means he's gonna have to combine this into one parcel, I don't know, but that's.
Well, he's gonna want to be able to sell one and save one.
Okay.
So if the formula, if I have to shrink this size
Yeah, it
to make his formula work.
might be 47 feet or whatever.
That's why we're here, before I spend the big money on the.
Yeah, this
Certified
is,
survey.
well, this is just a preliminary anyways.
Yeah.
Talking about today, so I don't know, what does Jim and Amy think or so?
So basically, we're back to one of the two options you've come up with.
Right, and so the first option was breaking it, really, all the way. So option one is acquiring all of this property. And then doing the weighted average, that one you ended up with, let's see, it's going to be, 242 feet on average.
So would that mean he's gonna have to give up some property to Julie and Danny up to here and then this?
Yeah, so that's the second one I ran. The second one I ran was stopping here,
Right.
right? And that ended up being 258, which exceeds.
So you'd have a
250.
you'd have a jog. Arnie, where his house is, would be over in the orange, and then Julie and Danny would be this way. It would encompass.
So what
So
I
actually, to get to the 250, if you just went up a little bit,
halfway.
yeah,
Do that.
If you went up halfway, you get to 250.
that way you would have this orange section next to your house, there and at the lot, what is that, one?
So giving them some more property back here gives me what, a mean lot width of something better?
250.
Yeah.
Well, for lot 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I'm including that north lot though in these calculations.
Yeah, from here to here gave you 258. So if you take a little bit more up to about here and get to the 250, then you're good. And then
Now, but we'd have to take a look at, that needs
You
to
gotta,
be
yeah.
3 acres.
He wants another lot here to sell.
okay,
If they keep this, fine, they want to be able to sell this. If they sell this, they want to be able to build a cabin here. So I think this has to stay on the print for now, for them. So I guess how far up,
Yeah, so,
how
well,
far, if all, I can move up.
that's, well, so,
I think that's your trade-off.
that is the trade-off. It is. So.
It's like if you want this orange here, then Danny and Julie are probably not gonna be able to have that separate lot, right?
For all, for most of it,
Yeah.
correct. So what, that north lot, what's the size of that again?
3.52 acres.
52, okay.
3.52 on the north side?
Yeah,
This shows a bigger number.
well, that's still got the whole piece in there.
Yeah, isn't it?
It doesn't have it cut off.
Okay,
That should have 8. Oh, it's way down here. Yeah, this is one of the older ones.
okay,
This is the newest one. So-
okay. So, I mean, I would, I would keep this as close to 3.0 acres as possible. It meets the requirement. That will give you more 272, which
So we move
figures.
this up here a little bit.
Yeah, and then we just need to figure out, where the weighted average, where it falls along
To
And-
to
and
get to the
to
250.
get to the 250.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm more interested in tonight, not having the ability to do the math here live, is getting everyone comfortable with that process.
Yeah.
If we're comfortable with the weighted average as described in 16.2 of zoning ordinance, if we're comfortable applying this methodology to this, then it's just a matter of where we draw the lines.
Well, unless somebody else on the commission disagrees with how I'm interpreting measuring the lot width.
Correct.
I haven't heard from everybody, so.
I saw what you're referring to in the ordinance, I think it's goofy. I think it should be measured from the lake, but that's not what the ordinance says, so.
I'm just going by the ordinance. It's not something I made up.
What I personally feel doesn't matter at this point.
Well, there is a conflicting statement on what the ordinance says and what the permit says, land use permit. Land use permit says that the frontage is measured on the lake shore.
Yes,
I know it's in that book.
That's what a lot of people have been using for times. And I think in this rewrite, we're looking at correcting that so it'll be more consistent. And we'll say that the frontage for a piece of property is measured on the lakes.
But what about what he said about a cove?
well, this
Skip a cove?
doesn't have a cove, so it doesn't.
I know, but what if it does? I mean, if we're in the rewrite.
That's a hypothetical anyway.
Right,
Yeah, it is, but actually,
Devil's Cauldron has a cove, and
Right.
you would measure the lake shore all the way around on the cove.
you would.
Because I think isn't that how the county assesses taxes? The length of your lake shore?
Yes.
They will actually measure that cove.
Oh, really?
Absolutely, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna miss out on revenue.
Well, and-
So I think we should reflect that.
there is actually, in section 16, there are different formulas that address that cove type situation, not as dramatic as what it could be, but that address that.
Put a Sue Ellen, I think she.
So Sue Ellen, what do you think about this?
I've got so many papers here. I'm looking up what you're talking about, the numbers.
How'd you do in ninth grade algebra?
Oh, fine in algebra. Beyond that, I'm not a math person.
Okay,
I just talk to people.
Well, then let's go back to that, because if we're going to change it, then this does not need to be altered. Because it's.
Might want to just wait until until the zoning rewrite goes through. If-
And when is that?
Rush on it?
When is that?
Well, hopefully within, I don't know,
We're
sometime
almost,
in this
Next
calendar
5
year.
years?
No,
I'm
no,
I'm not gonna give any estimate.
we're almost to the end of, maybe a couple of months and it might.
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to
we're-
bring this up. I had Larry run this by Ashland County, and they didn't see any issue with this,
Yeah,
as long as the point went along with this. So here I am, having you review it before I come in and give you a map that you're gonna say no on, and I spend
Yeah.
$750.
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, if the county's taxing you on lake frontage,
They are.
you know, then our zoning should reflect. Just like the permit says, lake frontage, and it's a glitch, which, in my opinion, what's in the zoning, what do you
Well, maybe we
think?
can look at the definition of Ashland County has in their zoning ordinance. They must have a definition for lot width in Ashland County, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so let's, you're on the county board, grab a copy and bring it over.
yeah.
Don't say anything, just grab a copy and we'll, you know, we should be consistent, I
When
agree.
I'm in my jammies eating toast, I'll bring it up on the internet.
There you go.
Yeah,
Well, I agree, we should be consistent, so.
So if we use the,
Maintain 3 acre lots and that's what, when they do the subdividing and everything.
Right.
I don't see an issue there,
yeah.
and I think it has to be worked out eventually, maybe not yet, maybe you want to wait till we finish the
it's
rewrite.
gonna be 2-3 months, that's no problem.
Okay,
I'd like to have this done by June or July. If possible.
if not, we'll revisit this and
Okay.
get it.
It's hypothetical, and if you use this front footage, and I have more than enough right now, you think you still have to cut this back on some other property? No, you wouldn't have to.
No, because this is 267 and that's about 200.
Yeah, so it'd be a nice clean 50 feet strip.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Yes.
Be patient.
I'll wait for the next, but whatever. Yeah. I'll be
You're always
patient.
patient.
I'm always
You're
patient.
always patient.
Do you want to keep that better, Matt?
If I could, please, yes.
Yeah, I'll get another one. I think
Is there anything
that's
out
got
there
the,
that's-
well, it's got the legal description, I think, of this piece.
Okay.
Or make a copy. If you would.
Nelson could send me another copy, he just sent that one to me today.
Okay.
So, okay.
Okay, and for the record, the chair recognized Mr. Nelson.
There you go.
So you're-
Nice touch.
You're gonna table me. So I want to thank you all for moving me up the agenda to get tabled.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It was a good discussion. Okay, we make progress.
All right, moving on,
Uh,
we have a potential sauna with non-conforming building.
Yeah, and would you like me to give a 30-second overview?
Yeah.
So, this is at 351 Fork Road. Contractor, architect, reached out to me a couple weeks ago and wanted to explore the addition of a sauna. There was discussion on the placement. One of the options explored early on was underneath the existing cottage, but after further review of the structure and what's there, it would not work there. So they're actually proposing a 10 by 12 lateral expansion off of a deck next to the cottage. The issue is that would be approximately 30 feet away from the ordinary high water mark, which is, far closer than what our ordinance are. So on the very first page of the handout is the non-conforming structures to shoreline setback. And this talks about if you under 9.3E, non-conforming, sorry that it's so small, I wanted to get it on one page. Non-conforming principal structures less than 40 feet from the ordinary high water mark are permitted ordinary maintenance and repair. So it's really limited anything within 40 feet.
And is this the principal structure on the property?
No.
So that throws another wrench into the works.
Correct.
It's an accessory structure or accessory dwelling.
Right.
Yeah, they're grandfathered in with several accessory dwellings.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but I think the problem is that they're trying to add on to that, and I don't see where.
Yeah,
it's
they-
allowed.
It's, in my mind, it's not.
No.
If they want a sauna, it has to be a freestanding building,
Mhm.
meeting the setbacks.
Maybe they'd have an argument if they made the deck into, closed it, but even that, I don't think they could do and make that into a sauna. You know where the existing deck is off to the side. If they reconfigured that and put the sauna there, but there again, you're running into alteration of the structure, right?
Yep, yeah, because that would require a UDC permit.
Yeah, so I hate to say it, but I just don't see an option for them on this.
And I didn't either when.
Not as presented.
Agreed. The part of the reason that I brought it to the group was just to see if, with all your years of experience, is there another option other than the freestanding unit 75 feet?
Yeah, they pick an accessory structure that is outside of the setback that they can legally add a sauna onto.
Understood. Okay. I just wanted to see if there were any other options that I hadn't thought. I agree that meeting the setbacks, that's the best way to go, but
That enough direction or,
yes, if everyone's in agreement,
Yeah, the way it's proposed.
Yeah, and-
Not work.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, moving on, old business review, discuss, possibly approve land use permit applications. There aren't any this evening, and so out of the main reason we're here, the zoning ordinance rewrite, review, and discuss modifications. And we'll go over this one chapter at a time.
definitions, I guess.
Yep.
Just want to go page by page and
What
Sure.
page are we on?
Yeah, page by page is fine.
start at page 5 unless someone has a question before then.
What have you got on page 5?
Under 9, building height of, it should reference section 16.3 to 16.1, I think, for that definition. I think that is not correct at 16.1. I thought it was 16.3 in the back of the,
I believe it's right. Yeah.
and then under 12, campground, where we're talking about used by more than 2 camping units, should that be by more than 1 camping unit? Why is it 2?
Because it's a camp,
It's a campground, so
it's not camping on private land. It's an actual established campground.
Campground, yeah, but should it be more than 1 since we're limiting campers, trailers to just 1?
That's on private land. This is a campground.
Okay.
Like G. Nelson wanted to build a campground.
Well, so did, what's his face? Guy that was.
Mattingly.
Mattingly, yeah, he wanted to do something on Hagen Road.
Yeah.
I was just wondering why it was 2 and not, that's all.
I don't think we switched this. I think this was how it was before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the only reason I asked that was because.
So basically what we're saying is if you're camping on private property, you can have 1 camper, but if
Sure.
it's more than 1 camper and 2 campers, then it's a campground, which, there aren't too many zoning districts that actually allow a campground.
Yeah, and they're all conditional use.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you want to leave it at 2, that's fine.
Good catch on number 9.
Are we crossing out 2 camping units?
No, we're leaving it the way it is.
Okay,
Oh, the camping units, that's down the road. We were talking about campground.
well, it also says by more than 2 camping units under campground, so. I finally found the page.
Oh, okay. Anything on page 6?
Under deck, for including the freestanding deck. Freestanding, and that kind of gets to accessory structure, and what's the idea about allowing a deck under, not requiring a permit? I guess it also applies to accessory dwellings later on. We have that list of things like bird feeders and things like that and small storage buildings, but I know that seemed to be new to me since the last time we were going through this. On page 48, where you have deck, freestanding not exceeding 250 square feet and only one without a permit. I mean, where did that come from? That wasn't there like 3 months ago, was it? 4 months ago?
The actual definition of a deck.
No, but also including it under, my question is about allowing a deck without a permit. At least 250 square feet. I don't remember that from the first go around several months ago.
Oh.
So I was just not knowing where that came from. And if that is included, should we say something that the deck should not have a permanent foundation on the ground? It just seems,
Yeah, I don't.
it seems excessive.
Any
to me.
kind of a deck that's attached to the dwelling needs to have a permit, no matter what the size.
Yeah, but this is referencing a freestanding deck. Like if
Right.
someone just built a deck out in the middle of the woods for something.
Yeah, or.
I did for a kitchen when I was living in the camper trailer.
Yeah.
I didn't build it, but somebody gave me a piece of their deck and I just put it in the yard for a little
So
while.
if it's not on a foundation, then that's completely different.
It does say under accessory structure,
But I might have been doing it.
structures and mobile assemblies, that if there's any land disturbance, that they would require a permit.
Yeah, land disturbance usually, references foundation work because you're digging.
Right.
But that might have been added just for campers.
I think part of it was a discussion about whether or not a deck was considered in a land use permit for square footage. When you applied for a permit, if you had a deck on your house, and we decided that if it was attached, that yes, it would be added to the square footage for the permit fee, but if it was a freestanding deck, it wouldn't be. And then, so that kind of snowballed into all the other definitions and how we would put in a freestanding and an attached deck. Differentiation between the two, when they would be allowed and when you would need a permit.
It just seems like a lot to me, 250 square feet. I know we're talking about accessory buildings at 100 square feet. There's a garage canopy at 250, but that's just a tent-like structure. So
So maybe
It
tone
does
tone this
seem to be
back
big.
to
I
100
think
square feet.
250. That's 25 by 10. That's maybe 100 square, 10 by 10. I don't know, 150 square feet. Just seems like 250 square feet. Seems like a lot to me, but
But toning it back to 100 is no big deal.
just a thought. That's what I was thinking.
Would you like to see a change to,
100.
100.
okay,
And obviously the public can comment on that.
Page 7.
Under accessory dwellings,
are you now, Charlie?
number 25, accessory dwelling accessory on page
25?
7,
No, page 7, number
number
25.
25.
Number 25.
Back to the, and I thought we were going to include something in that definition where decks and garage shop areas included in square foot calculations. Because again, I think some of these accessory buildings are, exceedingly large because maybe the habitable space is 1,500 square feet, but then they add on like a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot garage. So all of a sudden you have like a 45 or 5,000 square foot building. I don't think that's the intention of having an accessory structure. So I'd like to see that language included under accessory dwellings. That both decks and garage shop areas included in the square footage calculations when coming to that 65% or 1,500 square foot rule.
But if somebody has a 3,000 square foot dwelling and they want to build a pole barn and have 1,500 square feet of living space in it, but the pole barn's 5,000 square feet, that prohibits them from having any living quarters in a barn dominium.
But then you could also have a separate, say, accessory dwelling of 1,500 square feet or 65%.
Oh, so you don't want the barn dominium concept.
Well, but what's to prevent someone, and I know it happened at Doug Winters where Pat McHugh is right now. That was a pole barn that was converted into a dwelling after the fact, and it's fine. It's the only dwelling on his property. But if someone else had a pole barn and they wanted to, and it's like you say, a 5,000 square foot pole barn, and they made that into an accessory dwelling, and you already have a principal dwelling on the property. I mean, that goes against what we're trying to, maintain here with having an accessory dwelling be subordinate to the primary dwelling. Otherwise, it's double density. And we heard that already at some of our public hearings back in October. I think Alex Secker brought it up that, we're getting into this double density. And the idea behind this originally was to keep things somewhat under control. Not that someone builds a 10,000 square foot house and an 8,000 square foot guest house.
So the 5,000 square foot barn dominium, you call that the principal dwelling?
If that's the only thing on your property.
And then they're allowed another 1,500
For an accessory. Yeah,
dwelling.
my concern is when they start making that garage apartment into this huge complex, which, that's, I don't think is the intent, because then they could convert the garage area easily enough into more livable space.
Yeah, but I mean, that would take a UDC permit and a change of use to make it bigger.
It's just a concern of mine because I've seen it happen with the last few zoning administrators, and I mean, it seems like it's I don't know. That's not the intent of this. Whatever. It's like a loophole.
Yep. We've had those.
Anybody else with any thoughts on this?
I certainly think deck should be included in it.
If it's an attached deck, it would be. If it's attached to the structure, it has to be included in the square footage.
Why don't we just leave it the way it is?
It's just a comment.
How much walking is there when people remodel their houses? How much?
There's getting to be more with UDC inspector.
So it couldn't turn into more livable space without somebody knowing that? If you're remodeling?
Well, if you have a say the garage is 3,000 square foot total, and you're not supposed to go beyond 1,500 square feet or 65% of the principal dwelling. So, it depends on what the principal dwelling is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's for argument's sake, say it's 1,500 square feet is your maximum, but someone builds a 3,000 square foot garage apartment, they say half is a garage, half is a dwelling. Well, then what's to prevent them later, 2 years later down the line saying, well, I don't want this garage.
I mean, in the garage itself, they could have, a pool table and chairs, television, have some. They're enough living in the garage.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying,
Because, I mean, who doesn't like a nice man cave?
exactly, but that's why we have this size limitation on an accessory dwelling.
Mm-hmm. I
I just think it's a loophole that's being abused now and probably going to get worse. So you guys don't think it's a
Barn
problem?
dominiums are becoming pretty popular.
Well, and that's fine if that's their principal dwelling, or if they want to have a barn condominium that's, I mean, 1,500 square feet, 30 by 50. That's pretty good size. And that's not to say your principal dwelling, you could have a 20,000 square foot house. There's no limitations on that, right? So
Right.
it comes to me down to double density and how many structures someone has on the property and how big they can be. And I mean, it goes back to what we're dealing with short-term rentals as well. So
What's the matter with what's written?
it's off at the pass.
So without getting double density, they could get a garage separate from the building that has the
You could have a
AC
detached garage.
inspection,
Yeah.
and they can have their man cave over there, not,
You could have as many
Yeah.
detached structures.
Yeah.
In a barn dominium.
yeah,
concept.
that's fine with me.
As far as accessory, buildings,
Mhm.
garages, pole barns.
There's no limit.
There's no limit. You can have.
As long as you meet setbacks, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know.
So, I mean, that's talk about double density. I mean, there's myself over on Middle Road, you know, putting up pole barns.
Hadn't noticed. Looks good, but yeah, but those are storage
The
buildings.
thing is, you know, the more stuff we can get under cover, the more stuff that's just laying all over.
And an accessory structure is
Right.
not inhabited.
Right, but what Charlie's just saying, you know, the barn dominium is kind of a loophole under this accessory dwelling where they put up a great big building and then just have a tiny, you know, 1,500 square foot apartment in the corner. Didn't somebody do that over on Mondamin?
Yeah, might have.
Not that I know of.
I mean, if you guys don't think it's a big deal, I'm fine with it. I brought this up before and I just thought it was a loophole. If we don't include the garage space as part of the accessory dwelling, because for instance, that garage just next to my brother's house downtown, I mean, when they built that, it's the same size as the print. You can't tell which is the accessory and which is the principal. And, you know, they've got a little garage area in there, which, yeah, they use for storage, but you can't tell which one's the accessory and which one's the principal. And you should be able to. I mean, that was the intention of having an accessory dwelling. Otherwise, why not say you can have two principal dwellings, which is absolutely double density. And this is only by terminology only. I mean, right now, there's some places you can't tell what's an accessory dwelling. They both look like principal dwelling.
Well, I mean, the 1,500 square foot cap is, you know, that's positive.
Or 65%. So if you only have 1,000 square foot house, you
Right.
can only have a guest house at 650.
Yeah,
But then someone adds in, well, listen, that's only the livable space. You can have a garage attached onto that. And I think that just,
I think anytime we can plug a loophole is good because it's gonna show up sure as shooting. So whatever you guys decide to plug it, I think it should be done.
after all, this is an accessory dwelling, not accessory dwelling and garage. So just my thought.
Well, whatever anybody else thinks, I think that the more loopholes we can plug, the better.
You need a new definition.
I was just thinking of adding after the sentence that once the square footage has been calculated and recorded on the permit, the square footage shall not be increased. And then just a simple sentence that would say decks and garage shop area is included in square footage calculations. Something as simple as that, and that would alleviate my concern. I mean, they can still have a garage space. I'm not saying they can't have it, but it's going to have to be included in that 65% or 1,500 square feet. Otherwise, they're going to have to build a separate garage, a detached structure, whether it's a pole barn or garage, to get their garage space. I mean, it's a choice. It's up to them as far as I'm concerned. Life's a series of choices, guys. I mean,
well,
I
it's
just-
like, you know, Grutzner, garage.
yeah,
Right behind it, it's totally separate building,
perfectly fine.
accessory dwelling.
It-
Just doesn't get to combine the two. Because if he did combine the two, he might increase his
Yeah.
his
be out of
living
whack.
space into the garage, and that's a no-no.
Yep.
And by inserting this language, when presented to the public, maybe there'd be a huge outcry saying that's too restrictive, and we can listen to it then. But I think the intent of this is the habitable space in an accessory dwelling being subservient to the principal dwelling.
Well, then somebody can build a principal dwelling that has, I mean, with a principal dwelling, would it?
You wouldn't have known.
Would it include the garage space too as part of the calculation?
You could do whatever you wanted in a principal dwelling. You'd have a 30,000 square foot principal dwelling and half of it is a massive garage. This
Okay,
is just
okay.
pertaining to the accessory dwelling.
Okay,
I have no problem with it. That's designed on purpose we were always years ago concerned about having two massive structures on a property, which is definitely double density. This is even double density, but at least it's giving people an option for having an accessory structure on the property.
What was the wording that you wanted to add?
Decks,
Do it slowly.
comma, garage/shop area is included in square footage calculations.
Good.
I'm not saying they can't have it, but the total structure is going to be either 65% and or 1,500 square feet, whichever is lesser.
I think it's wise to put that in.
Okay.
If they don't like it, they'll take it out.
Anything on page 8?
Fine.
10?
10, the only thing in, under land disturbing activity, should we also include, removal of structures or not? I know we were talking about that recently, but, they took down that little house next to the museum.
Is that gone already?
Yeah, they were taking it down today. Yeah,
Did they dig anything?
the foundation's still there, but
Okay.
that came to the question that you and I talked about the other day in your office about land disturbing activity, and I think it's mentioned elsewhere, but should it also be mentioned in the definition? Just a thought.
Okay.
I don't know what everyone else thought.
What page we on?
To include underneath, any man-made change of land surface, including, and goes into stumping, excavating, filling. We were talking about whether or not removal of a structure, whether it's a house or even an outdoor shed, needs a permit.
Removal of old foundations?
That's good. That would work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Removal of old foundations
yeah,
as land disturbing activity, because it is.
yeah.
Yeah. And he got a permit. I'm not singling anybody out,
He
so,
did.
but it came up as a question. Just so everyone's clear, I think it's a good idea.
Page 11?
Just the lot, I guess, after our discussion with Arnie tonight.
Yeah, and I'll take the IOU to look at Ashland and Bayfield. here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think whatever we can do to make it clear for everyone is positive.
Yeah.
Want to stay consistent.
12? Thirteen?
13, number 77, rental property, see ordinance to regular rental property. Should that be to regulate rental properties?
Yes. Fourteen?
Setback, where it says the part setback from the road right of way is the distance measured from the edge of the dedicated roadway, line measured from the center line and equal to 1/2 the width of said roadway of the road structure. What if the roadway is not platted as the center of the right of way? And I'll give you an example up there on Mondamin, where Ebby Lane and Mondamin comes in. You'll notice that the house that Amity and Dan live in is pretty darn close to the road. That was a result of when Rick Reichheiser was building a house originally. It was found out that the Mondamin Trail is about as far west towards their property as it could possibly be. So I'm just saying that,
The lot line would have been in the middle of the road.
yeah, the road is not always the center of the right of way. And I know James
land.
Price mentioned that several months ago when he was still on the job to Ed Schaefer. And I think in cases that is truthful, is that you can't assume that the road is going to be exactly in the middle of the road right.
Well, I mean, that's why I've always said before somebody builds, you should, it should be in the ordinance that they have to get a survey.
We had a
I'm
survey.
opposed to that.
And that's where they found that the lot line was in the middle of the road.
So I'm concerned about that sentence being in our ordinance, because I don't think it's always going to be that way. In a lot of cases it is, but in Sue Ellen, you remember that, right? So
Yeah, it was my
That's your
land.
neighborhood.
I sold to Noah.
yeah,
And then it was surveyed and they found the lot line was in the middle of the road. They did that with Uda's Toy House too. They found.
I don't
out.
know if we can just get rid of the parentheses where it said the line measured from the center line and equal to 1/2 the width of said roadway, maybe just remove that. That would suffice. That's my concern.
Yeah.
I don't want someone using that as gospel truth and it comes back to bite us all in the ass.
Charlie, what if we put in, says, let's measure from the dedicated highway, e.g. the line usually measured? And then we could have a note in there or something that would also, along with Paul said, that maybe, any new structure being built has to have a certified survey map. We can require that, I imagine.
Yeah. Are we going too far with the certified survey? I mean.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive.
You can get just, like when I built on Middle Road, I just had them come out and find the lines and pound in the
I
labs.
think a certified survey map would be extremely excessive because like Arnie was saying, it's,
Yeah,
yeah. It's not a cheap deal.
no,
Oh, but I like Jim's suggestion, just a line usually measured or typically measured, something along that line. So we're giving ourselves a bit of an out.
yeah, I mean, if there's,
And I'm not saying
a mistake and the lot line goes to the middle of the road, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's like the golf course. Bayfield Golf Course in the hill, the lots go to the middle of the fairway. And that's not the case at the golf course on the island.
So do we want to put anything in the ordinance about requiring any new structures to, that the property owner has to get a, what did you call it?
Well, it's just a survey with the lines,
All property lines?
correct?
Okay, and that,
And
or
it's-
property boundaries, whatever.
and they can show that where the right of way is too. I had them mark
Yeah.
where the right of way was.
Yeah, we already had to do that. When Baxter ever built anything on my property, he put flags at all of our markers.
Yeah, but where a homeowner pounds a flag and where the surveyor pounds a flag, a lot of times they're two different places.
Well, somebody came out with a thing to find out where the marker was.
If you're lucky enough to find
The old pipe.
the pipe monument
Uh-huh.
with a metal detector.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you can, with a string, go between those and then pound in some lap, but.
oh,
the
so how much,
survey- the
how much it
surveyor's
costs for the
doing-
surveyor to come out and just find your markers?
It starts at $1,000.
Yeah, and even that's not cheap.
Right. It is worth it, though.
It is, it alleviates problems.
It protects the property owner, number one, right? It protects the town when we go out and I'm out there measuring the field. I've got something that I know was recently done. So I've been encouraging, as property owners have been wanting to submit permits for things that, has it been surveyed, we're not requiring it right now, but it protects them. And I know it's expensive, $1,000, $1,500, but it'll save them headaches down the road.
Right?
you feel that this is something that we should try and include in the ordinance, that it is required?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, if somebody's proposing to build right up to the setback, then it's paramount. But if it's a great big huge lot and they're talking about a house in the middle of it, where Rich has had instances where, you didn't even have to get the measuring wheel out of your vehicle because it was so blatantly obvious that they were, so many feet away from the setback that it was a no-brainer.
If we leave it up to the discretion of the ZA, whether or not it's required?
That's a good
Right?
idea.
If he walks out there and says, oh yeah, that's no
That's what
problem.
I'm thinking, because
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah,
But leave it up to him. If he walks out there and was like, then if he says so, it's
yeah,
required.
I mean,
I had a phone call today about someone who's gonna be submitting permits for our March 4th meeting for a new house that the whole west side of the house is along that 50-foot setback in S1 property. So I get really nervous about those
Well,
because
we just experienced that with Tim Eldridge a year ago out on South Shore Road. Then that would have alleviated that.
Okay,
That
so
whole issue.
we want to do that. We
Yeah.
want to put something in the ordinance.
Or could we put it on the application?
Well,
You still want the strength of having it in.
Yes.
Yeah,
It can be on both.
yeah.
Well, I mean, just what we were talking about earlier with Arnie, you know.
So if we're gonna do this, where would we put it? It doesn't necessarily have to be in definitions. It can be under land use permit application.
I think it'd be better there, the definitions.
And you, tell me where land use application is in the ordinance right offhand, like.
it was in 8th, right? We actually just looked at that a couple days
I thought
ago.
it was in
Permit process, well, there's
page
like
87 is.
4 or something.
8.4 is permit process.
thought it was under-
Land use permits is 8.3.
I mean, we can see what the attorney says about that, you know,
Well, let's,
something in the ordinance.
Why don't we,
that States that it's just up to the ZA's.
at our next workshop, let's that together and bring it back to the TPC
Yeah,
thing on that.
I think it was 4 points.
because we're only to page 15.
Right.
We've been at it for an hour here.
4.2.
Okay, so we can go back to what we were on page 14.
We're getting rid of anything regarding under structure, number 94 on 14. We had that whole commentary before about things on wheels. And that goes back to the early 90s with Tommy, with things showing up on wheels. Do we want to eliminate that as is suggested here, or do we want to include that language?
Eliminate what?
Well, originally it's been taken out. It was underneath structure. The definition included a whole, almost a paragraph of, it's just stricken out. With a fixed location on the ground or attach anything having a fixed location on the ground. Just because a structure is mounted on wheels does not mean that it lacks fixed location on the ground. And the primary function of things on wheels is not for mobility, but its use shifts to a specific purpose for which land or a building is designed, arranged, intended, or for which it is, may be occupied or maintained as a permitted use or its equivalent or deemed structures.
Sounds like an attorney wrote that.
It was.
Yeah.
Probably paid quite a bit of money for that to be included. That was in there before I got on in 98, and it was obviously a response to Tommy and the burn down. And
So somehow it disappeared.
I don't know why it was taken out.
You think it should be in there?
I think it should be in there.
Okay, put it back in.
And you can ask Chucky or Greg Nelson about it, and they probably have their opinions, but there was a reason why it was in there. I just noted that it was taken out.
Did you find that, Jim?
That-
What Charlie just read?
Yeah.
You found it there? Okay.
I feel that the new definition covers it.
You'd be surprised.
Well, I know, well, any of these definitions, you could make them 20 times wordier than they are.
I know, but
Include a lot of stuff.
I know they went through having an attorney draft that up to cover the ambiguity of having something on wheels show up and someone say, oh, it's not a structure, it's mobile, even though it hasn't moved in like 30 years. That's the only reason it was ever put in there, and I think it's not doing anybody any harm having
Well, I
it.
mean, that would also apply to everybody with trailers that are just on their property, camping trailers.
Yeah.
They never move. food cart on Main Street, never moves, even in the winter it sits there. Camper in their backyard.
So then are you saying it's a structure or not a structure?
Well, according to what you just read, that would be
Be
a
a
structure.
structure, yeah.
I don't know, it's weird when you start calling stuff on wheels a structure. But there needs to be something in the ordinance. Because there are items on wheels that are, you know, somewhat detrimental to the community.
I just think it should be, it's been in there for a long time and, you know, it was coming at something that was being abused. It would have reared its ugly head. I don't know. I just don't see it.
Leave it in.
That's a
It's
problem
not doing
leaving it
any
in.
harm. We're trying to alleviate problems that have risen before. Because they'll probably be back again.
Well, we can think about it, take it out later if we sleep on it and think it's a bad idea. I think it should be left in there. I'll sleep on it too, Chair.
Well, let's finish talking about it. Do we want to go back to the old definition or use the new one? Charlie, you obviously want to go back to the old one.
I'd prefer the old one.
Paul, what do you want?
Well, we can certainly make the change and see what they say at the public hearing.
Back to the old one?
Go back to the old one. It
Maybe
might be a little bit restrictive with all the camping units that are on the island.
I mean, if there was a reason why it was taken out, maybe we start there. I mean, it was removed for a reason. It must have been in your.
I think the only reason we just went with a shorter definition for a structure.
Mhm.
Because we thought the old one was just a little too wordy and wasn't all.
Well, do you see the old wording as a problem? I guess.
What?
Was it a problem? Was it an issue? Leaving all that extended definition
It
of.
just seemed to make it more, just thinking of people that are gonna read this ordinance that they're gonna move here and they wanna look at what structures are. So they would have this definition compared to what the old one was. The old
Yeah,
one,
because
I think, is so very confusing to people and a lot for them to.
stuff on wheels really is not a structure. But I can see where,
If it's a problem with something on wheels, then we should address that rather than try and include it in a definition where it doesn't really fit.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how we go about doing that. Any ideas on, so what's the concern?
Well, the concern in the past was always having something show up within like side yard setbacks. And the argument being, well, it's not a structure, even though it's clearly being used as a structure. It's on wheels, and the argument of the person that placed that on, within the setbacks clearly didn't meet the ordinance definitions. And they said, well, it's mobile, I can hook up to it and move it out. And that's why it
that
was.
was added to the ordinance for any specific individual.
Well, yeah, because of Tommy down there, when he had that car with the thing out on the road right away, it's no longer there. If you remember, he had that Cadillac with the palm tree and the bar out on, and it never moved, and it was more or less the county right away, not the town right away. So why Emmer Shields didn't have more of a fit, I have no idea. But that was in the early 90s before I ever got on zoning, because I remember it was like Chucky and Greg and those guys were adamant trying to get something in there to control that because it kept popping up. And I agree, I don't want to see everything on wheels need a permit and be claimed structure, but I don't know. It wasn't an easy thing to deal with then, and it's probably not any easier now, but.
I mean, there's people with utility trailers on wheels all over that are just sitting in the setback, and they may use them once a year, or they may use them once every 5 years.
But the public wasn't going in and out.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so.
Is this a concern more in the C1 district?
I would think so, yeah, because of the small lot size and the setbacks being only 10 feet. Right, so.
So maybe we'll start thinking about how to deal with it for the C1 district.
Yeah.
Well, it's my conversation just started because I noticed that long thing was
Yeah.
removed and I didn't know why it was removed. If there was a reason. If you think this flows better, I'm fine with that, but
I think it was removed when we were talking about having 2 campers per lot. We didn't want to call them structures.
okay. Well, if you want to leave it the way it is now, after talking with you about this, I mean, we
Okay,
could do that.
in the C1 district, you're concerned about, anything on wheels?
Well, I mean, it was just more or less the idea of having something that was portable, turned into a structure and not applying for the proper permit. I mean, if something's on wheels and they want to apply for a permit, that's fine, but you know, again, another loophole, if they're saying, well, it's mobile, I don't need a permit, when clearly it's hooked up especially to utilities or it's on concrete foundations, even if the wheels are on. But there again, we have a zoning administrator that can see BS when he sees it and say, well, no, listen, you're hooked up to the sewer, I don't care if it has wheels or not, you're a structure. And maybe that's the avenue, is to have the zoning administrator make the call and clearly say, and I'm not worried about Rich, but, just to say, this is a structure, it's not a portable unit or what have you. More so than what he's talking about with, construction trailers or something sitting in somebody's field. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to try and predict every situation that's gonna come up.
Oh, you're never going to.
And sometimes you look at things that came up in the past that you don't have to worry about anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Sometimes you have stuff in the
prime
past that you
example
do have
is
to be.
the food cart. There's one food cart, but what if 12 properties on Main Street each had a food cart in the front yard, right 2 feet from the sidewalk?
Yeah. Well, maybe what you guys suggest, leave it the way it is, and maybe
Yeah. So
maybe just look at the C1 district as a separate.
Just be aware that there had been a problem and it was fixed, and the problem no longer exists, but it might surface again. So if you don't want to put anything in to cover that, then you'll have to deal with it when it comes up.
But I do appreciate your, desire to make it less wordy. I get that. More user friendly is it?
Yeah, but at the same time, if there's a concern with things on wheels being turned into structures and not being permitted, whatever, I mean, we could look at trying to figure out some language and to put in there, especially in the C1 district. Seems to be the biggest concern. What that would be, I don't know, but we'll see.
Neither do I.
Come up with something.
Page 15.
We still have a definition for principal structure, right? I don't see it on my, or is it under P for principal?
The principal dwelling, I don't think we have principal structure.
Okay, so it's principal, that's how it is now. Principal dwelling principal?
Yeah.
Okay, good enough. If it's in there, that's all I was. Yes.
Yeah.
28. Wait, good enough.
Anything on 15?
And substantial completion, we're getting rid of the walls up, windows in, roof on, doors installed, that word, language.
Mhm.
Correct, or
Looking at page 15.
page 15,
101.
definition number 100, substantial completion. It always seemed like the wording was walls up, windows in, roof on, doors installed, but I see that was removed as well.
Sufficiently completed to the point where the owner can use it for its intended purposes seems to suffice.
Good enough then, Sue Ellen?
But what it says here, sufficiently completed to the point where the owner can use it for its intended purpose seems to suffice.
Okay.
Yeah, something like,
So that's a higher standard than just saying walls up, windows in, roof on, and doors installed.
Yeah.
Okay.
just, you know, some people like tile and carpet, and plywood works for others.
There you go.
Page 16.
All good, boss.
17. Maybe we just stop at these definitions and maybe we think about another meeting, but we just talk about the balance of this zoning rewrite.
Fine with me.
Hopefully not have anything else on the agenda.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't opposed.
If we do,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like, the little bit we had today was fine along with this.
right. So just keep plugging away at it.
Want to do another workshop between now and our next meeting or talk about it at our next regular monthly meeting in February?
Oh,
This is gonna take a while.
yeah.
Tonight is empty.
So,
Well, that's
yes.
why I'm thinking maybe next week. Maybe we can spend another hour and a half and make a little progress because we want to keep working on this. I'd rather chip away at it
Yep.
in bits and bits. Be up here for 5 hours going through everything.
Next Wednesday.
I'm not doing anything yet. I mean, 4:30, what do you, rest?
Is there anything on the calendar?
Got it?
We talked about this room, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's yours. It's the-
Wednesdays are usually open.
Yeah.
I mean, if a different day works for you guys, I'm pretty
Oh,
flexible.
Yeah, it's just Monday and Tuesday I have county board meetings.
If you want to do a Thursday or
Three of
something, does that work?
It's open. Yep.
Want to do 4:30 or does that work for everybody or 4? I mean,
I'm totally flexible.
It's better for you.
Okay, we have our next
February,
meeting
okay.
next week, but what
maybe.
are we talking about?
we're talking about having a meeting next week, Sue Ellen, next Wednesday.
To keep plugging away at the zoning.
Yeah,
ordinance.
what's the date?
28th.
28th, okay. Wednesday, the 28th.
I have no commitments. I'm good.
You want to do 4:30, Sue Ellen?
Sure, I don't care. It's 5:30 here, so. Can be 4.
Yeah, you're out east, that's right.
Maybe 4, she said.
It's
Want to do it 4 o'clock?
The candle shop really isn't open. Nobody comes in. I can leave early in 5 minutes and be here, but I won't be here very early.
You want to do 4?
Either
4 is
way.
fine.
4 o'clock on the 28th.
Or
And then the next week is February 4th in our regular meeting, right?
Okay. So yeah, the future agenda items will just be
This,
the zoning ordinance unless something gets added, maybe a stray permit, whatever.
I've made no commitments for anything.
There's nobody here for extended public comment.
where's Polly?
sanitary meeting.
Oh. Usually it's-
Next scheduled meeting is 4 PM on the 28th.
Yeah,
So
once I figured
The
out.
rest
what
of it'll go
we were-
like up 3 weeks, no worries.
Even at our February regular monthly meeting, we'll have time hopefully to do.
More on this, yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, I'd leave it on there
Yes, of course. Yeah.
in case we don't get through it next Wednesday.
Pardon?
In case we don't get through the rest of it on Wednesday.
I
You should have nothing else.
Good back.
save your map.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
the super huge map.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's a hardy map.
This is the the mixed use district map.
Oh, yeah, that, I got that.
I'm gonna go straight home and 3-hole punch it.
Thanks, Sue Ellen.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, we're adjourned.
Stay warm.
You
Stay
too.
well.